What's up everybody, it's your boy David. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make some tabletop RPG terrain, a fantasy wilderness encampment, complete with a freshly hewn tree and a fire pit. This should be quite useful set dressing for a number of situations, frequently encountered in role-playing. So, let's get right into it. The first element of today's build is going to be the humble cinnamon stick. Fill up the center of the cinnamon stick with hot glue before you start making any cuts. This is going to help strengthen it and give it a little bit more weight. This also means that when you start cutting it, it's much less likely to splinter or crack. After that dries, take a hacksaw and chop off a piece from the end between 1/2 and 3/4 of an inch long. This is going to be our tree stump. You can use whatever basing material you prefer, but today I'm going to be using these plywood wooden dominoes from Dollar Tree. Trim your base to size with a set of garden shears, sand the edges, and get ready for basing. Make a small pile of hot glue in the center of one of your bases and attach the tree stump. To give the stump a bit more character, we're going to have a woodsman's axe sticking out of the top of it. Very reminiscent of Breath of the Wild. If you have any extra weapon bits on hand, feel free to use those. I'm trimming the weapon hand off of a plastic skeleton and cutting the hand off of the handle. File a groove into the cinnamon stick and the hot glue, and then superglue the axe into place. You can also glue the fallen log onto a base while you're waiting for the superglue to dry here. While those set, we're going to start on the final piece of terrain for today's build. Take some small gravel, make a pile of hot glue on one of the bases, and then form a ring of stones. After that, take some smaller twigs, about a 1/16 of an inch thick or so, and trim them to size. These should be anywhere from 1/4 inch to 1/2 an inch long, with some variety. After cutting the wood pieces, use the tip of your hot glue gun to remelt a bit of the hot glue on the base and stick the wood pieces into it, forming a fire pit. To add some texture to the ends of the logs, we're going to use the classic superglue and baking soda trick. Next, go ahead and add some plants to the base of your fallen log to give it a bit more detail. Take some Mod Podge or Black Magic base coat and go over all of the pieces to prepare them for painting. Start by holding the base and painting the terrain, and then once that's dry, hold the terrain and paint the base. The Mod Podge is also going to help the hot glue take paint more easily. Take a medium brown and cover the pieces for your base coat, including the bases. Then dry brush on a few lighter browns onto the wood sections of the terrain, following the direction of the tree trunk with your dry brushing to add some streaks for texture. Go ahead and base coat the rocks with a medium gray, the axe head with a steel, and the plants with a medium green. After that, go ahead and highlight all of those with a shade or two of dry brushing to bring out some more details. Take your choice of black and or brown inks and hit up the stones and the axe. To make the fire pit look like it's been used slightly, go ahead and dry brush on a watered down black paint onto the tips of the logs. Also, dry brush the inked rocks slightly lighter again. To flock the bases, I'm going to use my standard mix of coffee grounds and black tea leaves, but I'm going to also be mixing that 50-50 with some Italian seasoning. This will provide a nice woodland flocking mix for the pieces. Apply some superglue directly onto the base and sprinkle on your flocking. Repeat until fully covered. To make the pieces fit in better with the flocking, I decided to darken out the wood and a handful of the leaves with a brown ink as well. You can always make final adjustments like this after the piece is fully put together to make sure everything looks more cohesive. And there you have it, folks. A quick little build you can do to surprise your GM or your players for your next gaming session. Stay safe, sane, and crafty out there, and I'll see you in the next build.